Hey, the video for my Patreon only people. I promise some content only for you guys. So we'll try and keep it spoiler free. So I guess I'll do some spoiler ones and just make sure it's clear it's a spoiler video. So, but this one's going to be spoiler free because I haven't really decided about all that yet. Basically, just talk about candidly where I am with the writing process. So, where I am with the writing process right now is I've written, I wrote a draft. I might have said something about this in a video before, but I'll go into more detail. I wrote a draft. My background was in screenwriting with, well, just for my own personal stuff that I did for fun. It was all screenplays. And then we did Red Sea, and I got into the indie movie stuff back then, mostly Red Sea stuff, and of course a few other productions that did, but it was all screenplay based. And so writing a novel is completely different structurally, and it's different in a million ways. They're not even the same. There's a reason why there's screenwriters and there's novelists, and some people can go back and forth. It's not easy to go back and forth. If I was to be completely honest with you, I think I like screenwriting better. It's probably more natural to me. I went there first anyway. Because I would rather write. They enter the room, they do the thing, they say this line, and then go to the next scene. Writing in such a way where you're less on the nose and a little more subtlety, and you're hinting at things, and the whole show don't tell thing. I mean, can I do it? Obviously I'm doing it because I'm doing it, but it's not really it doesn't come natural to me. I've had to really work hard. So I wrote a draft that was basically an elaborate screenplay for the most part. And I'm I shouldn't say sort. I'm very hard headed. I wrote it in present tense because screenplays are in present tense. It's happening. You're watching it happen. You're watching the movie happen. I don't care if the movie took place in 1492. When you're watching a movie, it's happening. So Christopher Columbus, you know, steps on the ship. He grabs the gun, not stepped and grabbed. It steps and grabs. Anyways, it's a profound difference there. So I wrote it in wrong tense. Well, you can get away with present tense, but it's not the norm. So I'm trying to do this the right way, and make it and not. I'm not trying to fight too many battles here. It's hard enough just to be a first-time author. I'm not going to make hamstring myself with a bunch of other, stuff. Anyway, so I wrote the first one present tense. I wrote it in very screenplay, direct fashion. I did another draft that made it more. Well, didn't make it more, but it corrected it to past tense rather. I corrected the tense in another draft. That was a pain in the butt to get that done, and I finally did that. I'm not that. I had to learn to write show, don't tell, and also needed to understand the point of view. In screenplay mode, you're writing it as God. Even if you're writing it with a narrator, you're still writing the screenplay as it's omnipresent. You're God, right? So you know what everybody's doing, and you're telling what everybody's doing, and you're talking what they look like and stuff. When you take on a what's it called? It's first person omniscient, I think is how it's called. You're not in the corner narrating it. You're with that character, but it's not like I went into the room or I went into the room. I did this. My eyes look tired. You don't talk that way because or write it that way because that's taking on a more hard third person's point of view. It's really weird. So you kind of assume someone's point of view. So I'm writing it through Mirov's point of view, but not in a first person point of view. It's still third person. So I think I said third person omniscient is what they call it. So I'm sticking to there's a few times I had to break point of view because scenes cut away from her, but for the most part I'm on hers. So I had to learn that. So she's not going to say or the text. I want to. She takes, like, for instance, there's a scene where she's introduced. She takes off a helmet and a mask, and you see her face for 3 minutes. Well, I want to describe. She took off her mask. Get this colored hair, this colored skin, etc. Well, I couldn't do that because why would she describe? She wouldn't describe herself, even though I'm not writing it in first person. See the mind fuck this is. Anyway, so I had to like be write it such a way where there's a reason to describe what she looked like. So you have to deal with this mind fuckery here. Again, screenplotting, you don't have to worry about any of this shit. You just write it. So if you ever decide to do writing, learn novel first, because if you learn screenwriting first, you'll be spoiled. You'll be so spoiled. But anyway, so I had to correct that. And then there's also part of show don't tell is it's really difficult to explain if you put yourself in the corner. Like at the opening scene, the book is in an elevator. I'm not giving away because it's the opening scene of the book, and it's an elevator, and she's already fought a dude and killed him, and she's just writing in there, and I want to just say, an elevator, dead body, she's doing this, she's reloading the shotgun, and she's injured, and blah blah blah. I want to just tell you what's going on. I can't really do it that way. I have to unfurl it through her eyes. So, instead of just looking in the mirror and saying, "Hey, I've got a scratch here," it's got to be it's got to be more like she felt something warm and wet going down her cheek, and she looked in the mirror and saw the blood dripping from a scratch. That's show don't tell. Screenplay to say she had a scratch. I'm blowing running down it. I hope I'm doing a decent job showing you the difference and what I'm struggling with here. So anyway, and I had to work on that draft. So basically, right now I'm just sort of putting everything together, and then I call it my last structural draft. And then you also have to add my editing partner here, Celeste. By the way, shout out Celeste if you're watching this video. She's been coaching me through this because she's a published author, and I went to her because I wanted somebody who's done it, and I wanted to listen to somebody who's done it before me. I have a bad habit of just saying, I'll figure this out. I didn't want to do that on this project. I wanted to be guided by somebody who's been there, done that. And anyway, this is what I think is the last structural draft. And another thing I have a tendency to do, going back to my screenplay, is screenplay. You don't use the economy of words. You got to describe things very quickly because it's a minute per page. So a 120-minute screenplay is a 2-hour film. You can't waste half a page describing a damn room, right? So you got to impress upon what that room looks like quickly, and you have to compare and use metaphors and things like that. So I could say, hey, something's like something. I've got to just drop quick visual cues to you to what it looks like, right? Well, if you do that so bluntly, you lack a certain amount of flair, and so the reader reading a novel, it gets more dull. They need some poetry, some prose to it, some oomph to it. And so what I'm doing here is kind of putting all these factors together in what I call my last structural draft. So once this structural draft is completed, it should be just a matter of checking grammar and checking, make sure it didn't screw up grammar too much, commas and cross my I's and dot my T's and all that kind of stuff, as they say. Make sure I do all the things I'm supposed to do grammatically, and then it should be ready. Should basically be ready. It's a hell of a book. One thing I am doing that flies in the face of convention, as much as I wanted to meet the norms, it's a big damn book. We're talking 170,000 word book. It's a hell of a story. And I'm like, well, if I got one shot at this, I'm firing all the guns. It's going to be fucking War and Peace, ginormous epic thing. And if I never get to write another damn thing in my life, I'm blowing the wad on this son of a bitch, right? Because my thought is that I have nothing to lose. When you already have nothing, what do you fear losing? What is someone going to do to me if I write it and it doesn't work? No one's out of a damn thing but me and my time. All right. and then Celeste and her time that she's putting that in. But she wants to help. It's what she's juiced and gassed by helping me. I'm juiced and gassed by doing it. So we're enjoying the process. So we're not out anything. So I don't see any reason why not to write exactly the book I want within the norms of the what people expect. I want to deliver a book that people expect in terms of story and the structure, things like that. But it's going to be a whale of a story. They're gonna get their damn money's worth out of this book. It's 30 some odd chapters, 4 sections, 2 planets. It bounces all over the place. I did it in almost like set pieces, right? Each chapter is like a set piece. I'm structured in such a way, my dream is for it to become a film or a streaming series, probably more of a streaming series now. This is just the way of the world now, but that would be totally great if it was a streaming series. And you could take each chapter and make each one an episode. Really, maybe combine 2 chapters per episode or something like that. Yeah, you could totally make a streaming series out of the chapters. It'd be expensive, and it's an expensive story. If it was a movie, it'd be about as expensive as any movie ever made. It's Avatar, Star Wars level type budget stuff here going on. It's freaking huge. We're on Mars. We're back on Earth. We are giant, enormous. There's a battle that's 4 chapters long. And it's not just they fought. It's like there's 4 chapters worth of different events happening within this battle. It's just a huge damn story. My goal, my dream, fantasy, whatever, would be a streaming series or a movie, more like streaming series. I would love it to be its own universe. In fact, for the books after, I would like to expand upon the story, stay with the main thread, and then make over. I would love it if other authors at some point jumped in and jumped on other threads and caught part of the universe. It's in terms of the tone. It's more like RoboCop in terms of tone. As you can see, my 2 biggest influences are right behind me: Star Wars and RoboCop. And it's bloody and violent. If you're a fan of Verhoeven, it's heavily influenced by Verhoeven, who made RoboCop and Total Recall and Starship Troopers, and he also made Basic Instinct and the infamous Showgirls. He made a whole laundry list of movies. I'm probably missing some. I should be mentioning Flesh and Blood. And he made all his movies over in he's from. I'm drawing a mind blank. Right, from Sweden. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't. Norway. Oh god, I can't believe where Verhoeven's from. I mean, that's all mind blank. Anyway, from his native country, he made a bunch of movies. You have to look it up because I'm having a mind fart. Or the mind fart where he's from. Anyway, he made a bunch of movies. Rutger Hauer. He was the guy that kind of put Rutger Hauer on the map before he came to America and really hit big. He was Rutger Hauer's. Him and Rutger Hauer teamed up early on with Soldier of Orange and some other movies over there, and they did Flesh and Blood over here. Anyway, he's still alive today, still making movies. He's always have heavily empowered female characters, which my main character is a heroine. Very violent. I don't know if I hit all the themes he hits. I like his style. I like how bloody and visceral his stuff is. I don't know if I hit all the themes that he likes to hit. I think I'm not so much worried about fascism and those type of oppression things. Although I say that, but there's a whole element of that in this movie. So maybe I'm more influenced by him than I think. It's a heavily politically motivated book, and there's not a whole lot of hidden meaning in it. The basic gist in terms of that is you have a big monolithic entity called Unidom, and it's basically the entity that's been set up by the Earth and all the governments of the Earth to confront the problem that is the alien threat. And so therefore, it's become this big, huge political body, this bureaucracy, like the UN, And the main character Mirov is an agent from them, and at some point she's got to make a decision whether to stay with them or go against them. And she has to choose basically where she's going to be allied with, and so she has to make that choice. I have my own personal feelings that would probably go into spoiler territory about to go deeper into that, but I'll save that one for a spoiler episode. But anyway, that's where the book stand on this, along with some freeform rambling thoughts from me. But anyway, that's a basic overall update of the book. Structural draft. I'm trying to complete. My new goal is a chapter every 3 days. I've already finished the section 1. I'm 2 into section 2. That would leave basically 2.5 sections left to do. The third section is the largest by far. That is almost like the meat of the story, where those four battles take 4 chapters worth of battle take place. There's a whole hell of a lot goes on in there. I think the next video, I'll go ahead and give you some spoilers about the story. Let's do that.